Scared I'm gonna say something.
For decades, Bernie Mac was a beloved figure, known for his distinctive wit, unfiltered humor, and his unforgettable roles in films like Ocean's 11 and the acclaimed television series The Bernie Mac Show.
All right, let's go. Let's get up, George. Let's get up. Where baby girl at? Good morning, Nessa. I bet if I stop feeding you, you have something to say.
When he departed this world in 2008 at the age of 50, the official narrative attributed his death to complications from pneumonia. However, as the years have rolled on, whispers and speculations on the actual cause of his demise have refused to die down within the comedy circuit.
They put him in a compromising position that he really didn't want to be in.
In a community where laughter is a shield against pain, comedians have begun to speak out, alleging that there's more to Bernie Mac's death than meets the eye. They believe that the dark underbelly of Hollywood, with its hidden pressures and unspoken demands, may have played a role in his tragic end.
Well, you had said that you felt like they worked him to death. Because he was doing Ocean's 11 at the time?
I believe so, man, because, he told us that, man. He told us that...
For starters, Bernie Mac has faced numerous challenges in his life, and early on, he had to endure some particularly difficult moments. One of the most heartbreaking events in his life was the loss of his mother, brother, and father. His mother's battle with breast cancer played a significant role in shaping his life. During an interview with Howard Stern, Bernie revealed the emotional impact of his mother's illness. He recounted a moment when he came home excited after hitting a home run in a baseball game. However, when he entered his home and saw his mother, who wasn't fully covered, he noticed that she had a large scar on her chest. This was a moment of shock and realization for Bernie, as he saw that something was seriously wrong. His mother had a mastectomy, and Bernie was frozen with fear.
I was frozen, because I just kept looking. And she said, "Close the door."
Bernie's mother tried to shield him from the truth, asking him to close the door and not inquire further. It was a painful and confusing experience for a young Bernie, who turned to his grandmother for answers. She too directed him back to his mother, who continued to avoid discussing her condition. Despite the emotional turmoil, Bernie's mother prepared for her eventual pass-by, writing a 10-page letter to Bernie's aunt, explaining her death and offering guidance on how to take care of him. In this letter, she expressed confidence in Bernie's ability to persevere. The interviewer acknowledged that this was an emotionally charged story and appreciated seeing this vulnerable side of Bernie beyond his public persona as a funny man. Bernie emphasized the importance of being true to oneself and not being afraid to show vulnerability. He noted that his strength came from accepting himself for who he was. Well, young Bernie eventually grew up, and with growth came a new set of challenges. You see, there have been claims that Hollywood allegedly tried to force him to do strange things. Before achieving fame in Hollywood, the multi-talented comedian faced a challenging journey to stardom. He was a dedicated family man, juggling a variety of odd jobs including janitorial work, cooking, and even moving furniture, all in pursuit of his comedic dreams. These early struggles laid the foundation for his relentless pursuit of success, and little did he know that the path ahead would demand a significant price. His breakthrough moment arrived with an appearance on HBO's Def Comedy Jam in 1992, a groundbreaking show that catapulted him into the spotlight. This was a pivotal turning point in his career, demonstrating that dreams could be realized even in one's 30s. However, it was his subsequent performance that left an indelible mark on the landscape of contemporary urban comedy. As he continued to climb the ladder of success, Mac began to realize that there were certain compromises the industry expected him to make. These compromises could be perceived as strange and ethically challenging. It's been claimed that Hollywood pressured him to engage in activities that went against his principles and values. Looking back, one might speculate that his unwillingness to cross those lines could be connected to the tragic fact that he is no longer with us. In fact, one fan revealed some of the shady things that Bernie was allegedly made to do in a tweet which they captioned. The agendas we see in Hollywood are not new. They have been trying to push this stuff on black shows for a while. Here is an old behind-the-scenes clip of a promotional shoot for the Bernie Mac show. They tried to get a teenage boy to sit on Bernie's lap, and he shut that down.
Did you wait?
No.
It would be her. Abby, isn't Jeremy on the other side? Where am I?
At first, it seemed like Mac might have been the only comedian that had to deal with the horrible parts of the industry. But it turns out that Mac might have just been the first to have figured it out, as several other entertainers have come out with crazy tales. One of those is Dave Chappelle, and would you believe me if I told you this man up and walked away from a $50 million deal in 2004? Well, let's just say Dave also had his own fair share of Hollywood's dark side. The actor and comedian spoke with Oprah in 2006, and it turns out that his experience might have even been worse than Mac's. During the interview, Chappelle shared insights on the dismissive and sick culture within Hollywood, which allowed many celebrities to be dismissed as being crazy when they brought up certain industry issues involving men wearing dresses.
I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here.
There has been a decades-long stigma in the African-American community on men who wear dresses. The topic surrounding and cross-dressing continues as the gender lines are being questioned, and for many, wearing a dress does not necessarily define their. In Hollywood, several black male comedians have portrayed feminine characters that wear dresses on television. While these characters like Shanana Jenkins from Martin and Medea have long been funny to some people, others have deemed these portrayals emasculating to the black man. And Chappelle, just like Mac, is one of those people. Chappelle gave an account to Oprah Winfrey during their interview about how everyone from the film's writers to the producers on a movie set attempted to persuade him to wear a dress.
He put this dress on, and how much is prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion.
The comedian, who shared that he was uncomfortable with doing so, described the insistent attempts from the controlling parties of the set, who all said, all of the greats did it at some point. But no matter how hard they tried, Dave Chappelle, conspiracy theorist to a degree, to feel as though there was an agenda to get prominent African-American actors in Hollywood to wear women's clothing. The A Star is Born actor begs the question, all the comics that I've seen, Strong Brothers, why they be putting us in these dresses?
It's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress.
Unlike Chappelle, who is very vocal about not wanting to wear women's clothing, many other great comedians have opted to do so. For example, actor and comedian Eddie Murphy has done so on more than one occasion in notable films such as The Nutty Professor and its sequel, Nutty Professor II, The Clumps, and Norbit. In any case, Hollywood allegedly did way more to Bernie than just force him to do things he wasn't comfortable doing. According to Reginald Ballard, Bernie was also being overworked by Hollywood.
Well, you had said that you felt like they worked him to death because he was doing Ocean's 11 at the time?
I believe so, man, because
Reginald Ballard, who shared the screen with Bernie Mac in the star-studded ensemble of Ocean's 11, spoke candidly about the toll that Hollywood's relentless demands took on the beloved comedian. Ballard recounted that during the production of Ocean's 11, Bernie Mac confided in his fellow cast members about the exhaustive schedule he was enduring. He told us that he was doing so much, Ballard revealed. When Brad Pitt broke his ankle and production had to be delayed, it cut into Bernie's time for other projects like Guess Who. He had to rush and try to do a lot of stuff, and he felt that they didn't understand that it wasn't his fault.
They put him in a compromising position that he really didn't want to be in.
This revelation sheds light on the grueling pace at which Bernie Mac was forced to operate, juggling multiple film projects and promotional commitments back to back. The pressures of maintaining a demanding work schedule while navigating health issues began to take a toll on the comedian's well-being. Ballard further disclosed that Bernie Mac's health was a constant concern during the filming of Ocean's 11. The actor had been hospitalized prior to shooting due to health complications and was taking medications, including prednisone, which caused noticeable changes in his appearance. He used to do a scene, and he had to go upstairs to his dressing room to get oxygen, Ballard recalled. He'd come back and do the scene again. He was basically working while he was sick. Aside from this, there were speculations that Bernie was overworking himself so as to prove his value in the industry. You see, Bernie began his career as a stand-up comedian in Chicago's Cotton Club. After he won the Miller Lite Comedy Search at the age of 32, his popularity as a comedian began to grow. In 1992, a performance on the third episode of HBO's Def Comedy Jam thrust him into the spotlight. After Martin Lawrence was unable to calm an increasingly hostile crowd, Mac went on stage and told the audience, "I ain't scared of you," and that he didn't come here for no foolishness. Mac opened for Dionne Warwick, Red Fox, and Natalie Cole. He played a small role in 1994's House Party 3 as Uncle Vester. He also had a short-lived talk show on HBO titled Midnight Mac. Later, Mac also acted in minor roles, playing Mr. Johnson, the no-nonsense owner of a grill and diner in the movie Bab, and Pastor Clever in Ice Cube's 1995 vehicle Friday. Following that role, Mac was chosen to play the title role in the 1995 Apollo revival of The Wiz. Mac had his first starring role as Dollar Bill, a silly, slick-talking club owner in 1998's The Players Club. In 2000, he joined fellow comedians in the film The Original original Kings of Comedy. The original Kings of Comedy is a 2000 American stand-up comedy film directed by Spike Lee and featuring the comedy routines of Steve Harvey, D.L. Hewley, Cedric the Entertainer, and Bernie Mac. Filmed in front of a live audience at the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina, the comedians give the audience their views about African American culture, race relations, religion, and family. The film was produced by MTV Productions and Latham Entertainment and was distributed by Paramount Pictures. It was shot over the last two nights, February 26th and 27, 2000, of the Kings of Comedy tour with Harvey, Hewley, Cedric, and Mac. The show is intercut with footage of the comedians backstage, promoting the show on the radio, at the hotel, and during a basketball game. It was a critical and commercial success. The film's popularity led to multiple spin-off films. After the Kings of Comedy hit the scene, a bunch of fans were like, wait, who's this guy? I mean, we'd seen him in our favorite flicks like Friday, The Players Club, and How to Be a Player, but after Kings of Comedy, Bernie Mac's name was on everyone's lips. In fact, there's a good reason they let him close the show. Nobody could follow that act. So after the film, everyone started wondering, why hasn't he got his own show yet?
I ain't got no television show. Why? Because you scared of me. Scared I'm going to say something.
You see, at the time, Steve and Cedric shared the screen on The Steve Harvey Show, and D.L. Hewley had his own radio show. But Bernie Mac had yet to break through the mainstream. And it's not like people weren't trying to get Bernie Mac on TV. Mac's first attempt in television was hosting an R&B jazz late-night variety show on HBO called Midnight Mac in 1995. The series lasted 4 episodes. Chris Rock, who cast Mac as his brother in the 2003 comedy Head of State, said that he tried to get Bernie a TV show before he became a household name. A few years ago, I had a meeting with NBC. They asked me, what do I want to do? I said, I want to do a TV show with Bernie Mac, Bernie Mac, Bernie Mac, Bernie Mac, Bernie Mac. And you know, they were kind of like, gee, I don't know. They wouldn't do it. It seemed obvious to everyone except for TV executives that this comedian needed his own show. Larry Wilmore, who co-created the PJs and would go on to co-create Insecure with Issa Rae, realized the same thing that Chris Rock and everyone else who saw Kings of Comedy did. Bernie Mac was a bona fide star. Wilmore thought that Mac would be the perfect muse and star of a TV show he was working on. In a 2018 interview with the Television Academy, Wilmore explained how the show came to be. I saw Kings of Comedy, and I saw Bernie Mac's act of taking care of his sister's kids. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. If I did a show with Bernie where he's taking care of his sister's kids because the mother's on crack, that emotional tug draws me into the show, and I'll accept this premise that I have. According to Larry's interview on the D.L. Hewley Show in 2019, he already had the idea to do a TV show without Bernie attached. One of the inspirations in creating the show was a PBS reality show called 1900 House. In that show, they rigged cameras in the home. I wanted to do a show where it felt like we were observing the family rather than the action pushed at us. In that same interview, DL confirmed that Bernie felt that no one would give him an opportunity. He continued by stating that Wilmore was pivotal in the creation of the show because he didn't change Bernie, but he was able to present Bernie in a way that worked for him. Wilmore added that because of his show, The PJs, he knew he wanted to do a non-animated sitcom.
Before we continue, I want to say, we're talking about Hollywood being putting a lot of pressure on Bernie Mac and stuff like that. I think maybe that is true, but sometimes we really don't know. Maybe he was going through something, as the video says, right? He was working while being sick, and some people will say probably that was the reason why he passed away. But we can never know what passed away. But I'm gonna say Bernie Mac is a very, very talented comedian. If you watch his stand-ups, he was a talented, not just a talented, but a good comedian. I think I might say a great hustler, somebody that hustles hard very, very well, trying to take care of his family and started from nothing to something. He's an awesome, how can I say, an awesome stand-up comedian. And one thing I really liked about him was the way he dresses. Always wears suits, his big suits, and that was really nice. I don't know if Hollywood had a hand in his demise, but yeah, they kind of forced him to do a lot of things. A lot of celebrity stars to go through that, the way they have been forced to wear like dresses, and Kevin Hart's, Eddie Murphy, Tyler Perry, where men are forced to. But people just see that as an act, although it's against someone's religion. But at the end of the day, it's just an act. It's not the big deal. You can wear whatever you want to wear at all. You're just acting. It's not like your personality. It's not like the way you are. Right? It's like, for example, let's say you're acting in a movie and they say, hey, you want to be the bad guy in the movie. Right? I don't want to be the bad guy. You have to act as the bad guy, even though you don't want to be the bad guy. So I feel that is how it was. Let's continue.
So after seeing the original Kings of Comedy, he approached Bernie with the idea, and he loved it. So did Fox. Wilmore's goal was to show a different side of Bernie, which is why he says that the single camera format was so important to the show. Bernie as a comedian on stage is very dynamic. If I had him up in front of an audience, I'd be competing with that version of Bernie and it'd be no competition. I would lose, but if I were doing a single camera show, I could have a more intimate portrait of Bernie that doesn't compete with the outsized version of him on stage, and viewers could get to know him in a different way. The Bernie Mac Show premiered on Fox in November 2001 to decent ratings. The first season averaged 9.5 million viewers, and the show was critically acclaimed. Larry Wilmore won an Emmy Award for writing the pilot episode, and the series won a Peabody Award for the first season as well. That year, Bernie himself was nominated for an Emmy, Golden Globe, and NAACP Image Award for Best Actor in a Comedy Series. After a successful first season, Fox decided to air the show in direct competition with ABC's My Wife and Kids, starring Damon Wayans. The Wayans family sitcom would outperform the Bernie Mac Show on a regular basis. My Wife and Kids averaged over 11 million viewers to Bernie Mac's 10 million. Yes, the show fell behind My Wife and Kids, but the second season of the Bernie Mac Show delivered higher ratings than the first season, and for some reason, the network Television Academy, Wilmore remembers the night he won the Emmy Award, where the head of Fox said, "Well, I guess now we can't fire him." Apparently, even before the second season premiered, Larry Wilmore's relationship with the network soured. Wilmore says Fox tried to divide him and Bernie, which proved to be successful by the middle of the second season. In the interview, Larry wonders if it was Bernie's personal demons that might have gotten in the way when it came to who really created the show. Wilmore added that it's possible Bernie may have felt that something was stolen from him. As the relationship between Bernie and Larry worsened, Larry said, after that, there was really no reason for him to stick around, and that's when the network fired him in the middle of the season. Variety reported that Wilmore and the network constantly clashed over the direction of the show, and Fox felt the show wasn't delivering enough laughs. While Wilmore was the showrunner, he constantly received network notes interfering with the creative process. The network notes started right from the beginning. According to Entertainment Weekly, Wilmore revealed that the network didn't like it when Bernie spanked Jordan in the middle of the drugstore in the pilot episode. Larry responded, "Sorry, white people, but black people spanked their kids," then proceeded to ignore the note. Eventually, tensions between Wilmore, Bernie, and Fox got to the point of no return, and Fox fired Wilmore halfway through season 2. After Wilmore's firing, the network pushed the show's time slot back an hour. The show was no longer competing with My Wife and Kids, giving it a ratings boost. The Bernie Mac Show now followed American Idol, giving it even better ratings than the first season. A 2003 article in TV Guide details Mac's feelings towards Wilmore's firing. You know, networks. Similar backstage battles have been going on for a long time, but the situation with Larry was something that he chose to do. Larry was an instrumental part of the Bernie Mac Show. He really shaped it, but there really wasn't anything he could do after season 2. The Bernie Mac Show would last for another 3 years on Fox, but the ratings would continue to decline due to the constant shuffling of the show's time slot. First, it was on Wednesdays, and they moved the show to Sundays, then Mondays, and back to Wednesdays before finally settling on Fridays. Fans found it hard to keep up. The final season of the show averaged 3.6 million viewers. Despite the show's low ratings, the show won 3 consecutive NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Comedy Series. Bernie himself would take home 4 straight NAACP Awards for Outstanding Actor in a Comedy Series. The series aired its final episode on April 14, 2006. Throughout its run, the Bernie Mac Show had tugged on the heartstrings of millions of viewers who identified with Bernie and his style of parenting. Yes, the series is based on the comedy of Bernie Mac, but like DL said, Larry was able to present Bernie in a very specific, unique, and digestible format for all Americans to see. In any case, apart from having to prove his worth to the industry, Bernie also encountered some harsh competition from industry elites, one of whom was none other than Steve Harvey himself. You see, while filming The Kings of Comedy, Harvey was alleged to be the smoothest of the performers, but also the most aggressive toward the audience, picking targets in the the front row for comments on their hair, clothes, and career prospects. Bernie Mac, on the other hand, had a different approach, something you could call hard-edged, and some of his material ventures away from comedy and into the wounds of real life.
First year we did it, it was just me, Bernie, and Steve.
Right.
And Steve closed.
So it was alleged that Steve Harvey might have been jealous of Bernie Mac's approach, and that small hiccup is what grew into a beef that lasted for years. For years, rumors have circulated that during the time of the original Kings of Comedy tour, there was some tension between Steve Harvey and the late Bernie Mac. In fact, it reached a point where those rumors were addressed by other members like Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric, who was a part of the tour along with D.L. Hewley, Steve Harvey, and Bernie Mac, confirmed that the two comedians did not see eye to eye. Yeah. I mean, they were the kind of guys that they both alpha males. They just saw it different. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they was able to get through it, he said, while on Shannon Sharp's podcast club, Shay Shay. Cedric added that because of the feud, it had prevented them from doing another tour. I think, of course, that was, definitely a contributing circumstance. But I also think that it had a lot to do with the promoter on the thing because he got a bigger head than all of us. The dude that put us all together started to really think was about him. So it started to be that. So it was a lot of those kinds of elements.
That was one of the reasons why you didn't do. You did the first part, the second part. I think, of course, that was, definitely a contributing circumstance.
In 2003, Mac had an interview with GQ magazine where he accused Harvey of being jealous of him and trying to sabotage him for certain movie roles. Harvey acknowledged his feelings about the GQ article and admitted his anger about it. I was upset at first because it just wasn't true, said Harvey.
It's pretty normal, right, for comedians to have beefs with one another, but having the beefs with one another doesn't mean that they both are not good. It's just to see the difference and for both of them to try to improve among themselves rather than just staying on the beef and not trying to see how they can resolve the beef, But Steve Harvey's show still goes on. It gains a lot of viewers and it's pretty normal to jealous somebody. Jealousy is very, very normal, but when you take it that far, that is when it's not normal. Again.
Harvey. Me and Bernie had a lot of good times together, and then this article in GQ came out and put all this vicious stuff in there. Harvey also acknowledged that he spoke with Mac about the interview. B said he never said it. I had to take him at his word for it. After Mac's passing, Harvey revealed that his widow, Rhonda McCullough, helped him get beyond the feud. Rhonda, of all people, knows the truth. It was a cleansing moment for me because I was able to let go of a lot of stuff. No one knows what was actually behind the beef. However, Harvey's admission of having a cleansing moment might imply that something was there indeed. Whatever it was, we'll probably never know. From the looks of things, however, Steve has shown that he does regret how the relationship between him and Mac went down the drain, and he's even proven it on air. A while back, Steve Harvey dedicated one of his show's episodes of his daytime talk show to honoring the legacy of the late Bernie Mac. For the tribute special, Harvey was joined by D.L. Hewley and Cedric the Entertainer for the announcement that November 14th had been formally declared Bernie Mac Day by Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Bernie was a Chicagoan through and through, which is why the city of Chicago sent this over, Harvey said. This is from the city of Chicago. It's actually a proclamation that says, in recognition of Bernie's remarkable life and legacy, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has proclaimed today, November 14th, Bernie McDay in Chicago. In any case, during the final years of his illustrious career, Bernie Mac confronted not just the demands of showbiz, but also a hidden battle with severe sarcoidosis, a perplexing ailment characterized by inflammation in the body's tissues. This revelation marked a poignant turning point in the life of the beloved comedian, as he grappled with the relentless challenges posed by his health while striving to continue his remarkable journey in the world of entertainment. On March 19, 2007, during an appearance on the CBS Late Show with David Letterman, Bernie Mac made an announcement that would reverberate throughout the entertainment industry. With candor and a hint of resignation, he shared his decision to retire from the career that had spanned 3 decades. He expressed his desire to savor life outside the spotlight, revealing how he yearned to relish the simple joys he had missed along the way. "I'm going to still do my producing, my films," Mac told Letterman, "but I want to enjoy my life a little bit." In his heartfelt conversation with Letterman, Bernie Mac reflected on his early days as a street performer, recalling a time when he was just a struggling artist honing his craft. "I missed a lot of things, you know," he confided to Letterman. "I was a street performer for 2 years. I went into clubs in 1977 and was on the road 47 weeks out of the year." Despite the toll that his extensive career had taken on him, Bernie Mac remained a formidable presence in the film industry during these final years. He etched his name in cinematic history with a memorable appearance in the 2007 blockbuster Transformers, where he portrayed the charismatic car salesman Bobby Bolivia. Additionally, his distinctive voice graced the animated world as he lent his talents to the character of Zuba, Alex the lion's long-lost father, in Madagascar, Escape to Africa. Notably, Bernie Mac's last two film endeavors, Soul Men, 2008, a musical comedy where he co-starred alongside Samuel L. Jackson, and Old Dogs 2009, in which he played the role of Jimmy Lunchbox, continued to captivate audiences months after his passing. Tragically, on July 19, 2008, Bernie Mac's health took a sharp decline, necessitating his admission to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in his beloved hometown of Chicago. For 3 grueling weeks, he battled the complications in the intensive care unit. However, in the early morning hours of August 9, 2008, Bernie Mac succumbed to a cardiac arrest, leaving a void in the world of comedy and entertainment. Importantly, his publicist clarified that the complications leading to his demise were not directly attributed to his pre-existing condition, sarcoidosis. At the time, his sister-in-law revealed that Mac's inflammatory lung disease contributed to his death. He had sarcoidosis, but it was in remission, she said. But because he had it, his immune system was compromised. He had an infection. He was on a new medication that suppresses the immune system, and that's where the pneumonia came from. She revealed that Mac, having trouble breathing and running a fever, was actually hospitalized 8 days before the date given for his admittance. The actor was diagnosed with pneumonia and immediately placed on a ventilator. He was critically ill when he was in the hospital, she added. He was in intensive care the whole time. Bernie Mac's passing marked the end of an era, leaving behind a legacy that transcended the boundaries of comedy. A week after his untimely death, a public memorial was held at the House of Hope Church, where nearly 7,000 people gathered to pay their respects and celebrate the life of this comedic giant. Among the notable mourners were prominent figures from the entertainment industry, including Chris Rock, Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley, Samuel L. Jackson, Ashton Kutcher, Don Cheadle, the cast members from The Bernie Mac Show, and his fellow Kings of Comedy comrades, D.L. Hewley, Cedric the Entertainer, and Steve Harvey. In any case, although Hollywood allegedly sabotaged his career, Bernie Mac's journey was one of resilience, laughter, and undeniable talent. His enduring impact on the world of comedy and entertainment continues to be felt, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, his indomitable spirit and humor shone through, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of fans and colleagues alike. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.
Wow. I'm gonna say the best condolences to the Bernie Mac friends and his family. I've never heard of sarcoidosis. Never heard of that though. Let me. Okay, so inflammation is when the immune system overreact, causing a group of cells to form clusters on the inflamed tissues, connected one or more organs. Wow. So the immune system overreact, causing a group of cells to form clusters. So he had sarcoidosis and he was given medications to suppress its immune system. So then that resulted to pneumonia. Okay. So if he had that, then the people were saying that it's as a result of Hollywood and also as a result of his job. I mean, not really though. And maybe it might cost, but not really. Sometimes we can't know what Hollywood is all about, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm gonna say is we live life and sometimes you just need to enjoy yourself. Life is one time, and whatever opportunities you have, always make good use of it. Enjoy yourself, live your life, Yeah. If your career is interfering with your pleasures, you can give your career half and take your pleasure half, half of your life. You can split your career into half and focus on like 30% of your career and focus on 70% of pleasure. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to regret missing a lot of things that you never did. It's always good to enjoy yourself and live happily. Be happy, be in good health, and not like that. Because you never know. I'm gonna say Bernie Mac. He was a very, very astonishing comedian. Going back to the black parents beating their kids, it is something that's been pretty normal. Will you allow your kids to go wayward if you have the opportunity to correct them? No, you definitely for sure correct your kids. And it is very, very important to correct your kids as parents so that once they go old, you don't regret not correcting them. So, the Bernie Mac show with him disciplining his kids, it is not a bad thing. He did that. It is very, very okay and normal for parents to discipline their kids. Very normal. No. And also talking on the part of jealousy, it's very normal for celebrity stars to jealous one another. Jealousy is pretty normal, something that is normal. But when we over react to it, we take it to an extent, then it is not normal anymore. Then it's not normal anymore. But it's okay to jealous somebody. That is how we grow, right? If you see you're doing something, then other person is doing it way more good than you, you're like, I'm jealous of that person, but I want to know, right, how the person does it so that I too can learn. And improve. Like, let me give this example. Remember when BlackBerry was out? BlackBerry used to be the greatest mobile phone ever. And what happened? iPhone was like, how can we beat BlackBerry? So that we can be great. And iPhone came up. And see, today iPhone came up, BlackBerry was stopped in the market. As iPhone came and beat up BlackBerry, and now you barely hear of BlackBerry anymore again. So jealousy fosters growth, fosters research and development. It fosters improvise. So it makes people improvise on how to improve and how to do great. So it is, at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing.